So I'm here with 10 other oyster openers. We arrived in Shanghai. We're here to attend Shuck off China, and this comprises 3 cities in 1 week. Arriving in Shanghai, traveling to Beijing, and then on to Fuzhou. You know, we're oyster openers. We're also called shuckers. This is called China Shuck off. So there are 3 main things. The oyster must be completely severed from the bottom shell. So, the eating experience, when you eat the oyster, it comes off the shell cleanly. Secondly, there should be no grit in the oysters. There's 4 seconds penalty for that also. And the final penalty is that there's any damage to the meat. So you have to be very, very careful. You'll see the oyster openers, they all have different knives. Speed is the main thing, but all the penalties will be added on at the end by the jury.
Oysters are by nature a celebration. Whether it's Tuesday or your anniversary or a national holiday, they have a piece in every walk of life. Last year was my first time in China, and just totally blew my mind, finally going to a place I heard so much about. This year we're going to return to the Great Wall and have a little competition on the top of it. So this is going to be a world-class event, definitely the first time this has ever happened. I'm so excited to go back up there and watch 10 of the best shuckers in the world open oysters. And then I get to tell them whether they did a good job or not.
I feel great about my chances here competing against the international champions because they're not used to the oysters that we're going to be competing with here. As far as the competition in Ireland, not so great because I've never seen the European flat oyster. I shucked my first oyster looking to just make $1 in Panama City. I grew up in a family of 5 boys and 3 girls, and money was tight, so I didn't necessarily develop a passion for oyster shucking until I found out about the competitions. The competition was absolutely phenomenal. I was on the team North America, consisting of myself, Daniel Notkin, his sister Jo, and Eamon, all champions. It was completely nerve-wracking because the other competitors were international holders. I'm just the current US champion. If I could tell China one thing about oysters is that there is moisture with the oyster.
紧张的、心惊动魄的这种感觉，毕竟是世界顶级的开号选手，我也只是在中国拿了个第1名。其实我是感觉，我感觉比较荣幸吧，能拿到这个世界级的第2名。
Something else that the shucking competition does, it introduces to all these oyster lovers in China what a perfect oyster is. So when we judge these oysters on how they're presented, how they're cut, how they are treated in the shell, we show people what world-class oysters look like. You know, world-class oyster can come from a lot of different places, but a world-class opened oyster is only one way. And so throwing these parties, having the competition is cool. It's also super educational because we're showing people what it looks like to have a perfect oyster on the half shell. And that's something that translates everywhere across the world.